Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning back in. Today I have another episode of 5 things that you need to know about a forage species to help you catch more bass. And today we will be talking about another one of my favorite fish that are very prolific across the country, at least in a good portion of the country, and a primary forage species for a lot of different fish. I just want to remind you guys that if you enjoy these, hit the subscribe button. Not only are you helping support the channel, but you're also being entered into my monthly prize drawing giveaways for sponsored products that I draw on a monthly basis. So guys, that's how you get entered. You got to hit the subscribe button. Also, if you're looking to purchase some tackle, check out therealshot.com. The link is in my description. Use the discount code Stefan10 and you'll get 10% off your order, and that also helps out the channel. So today guys, what I want to talk about are the 5 things that you need to know about yellow perch to help you catch more bass. The yellow perch is another one of my favorite species because of how ferocious they are in the water. They really can be mean little fish, and they can grow up to be decent sized too. I mean, I know in Green Bay right now, they're catching fish that are, you know, pushing 17, 18 inches long and weighing a couple of pounds. They're one of the best eating fish, in my opinion. If I had to choose any fish to eat, it would be a yellow perch. They truly enjoy that. But I'm not the only one, guys. They are probably one of the most sought after species to be eaten by lots of larger prey. So we want to talk about the 5 things that you need to know about yellow perch. The first being their spawning habitat. They are one of the first fish to spawn, especially up here in the North Country after the ice comes out. They spawn in really cool temperatures, similar to like walleye, but instead of being similar to walleye where they get into more currented areas and hard bottom areas, the perch will actually move into some of the shallowest, muddy, weedy bays that they can find. They do that because the water is slightly warmer, but also the way they lay their eggs is they drop their eggs randomly, and the eggs will attach to the weed stalks. If there's dead like wood on the bottom of the lake, the eggs will stick to all of that. And because of that, guys, you need to realize that they are one of the primary forage species for bass and other predator species. So one reason you find good fishing in a lot of these super shallow, muddy type bays that you don't normally catch fish on throughout the year is because the perch are utilizing them to spawn, and the bass are in those bays feeding in on the perch. So you need to realize that a lot of times it's not just water temperatures. You know, a lot of times people are like, oh, I went into that super shallow, muddy bay because the water was 5 degrees warmer. Well, that's true, but the perch are back there spawning, and the bass are back there feeding on the perch. So you definitely need to be aware of that. On top of that, so the number 2 thing that you need to realize, and we've pretty much addressed this, but when it comes to spawning, they drop more eggs per size than most other species. And they do that because their eggs and fry have a very low survival rate. So they need to drop more eggs to counter for the fact that they have a low survival rate. But they're a low survival rate because the fry and the eggs are really sought out by other species. So they're really, you know, good prey for larger fish. But not just as an adult size. I'm talking an egg and fry size. So you get the bluegills in there, you get gobies or whatever it is are eating them. So not only just are they good prey, they're good prey for larger species throughout their entire life. And what that means is they truly do create an ecosystem around just perch. So whether you're trying to catch bass or walleye or muskie or pike, whatever species it is, you need to recognize the importance of yellow perch to help you catch more fish. They are that important of a forage species. So you need to keep that in mind. So with that, the third item then has to do with, well, how do you find perch? Well, perch are a predominant schooling fish. You can catch one here, catch one there, but for the most part, they're going to be in very large schools or schools. So they're a species that you can track down by using your electronics. You can literally graph for schools of perch. If you go into a weed bay, you can find perch that are in those pockets. I was just out on a lake and I was using my Lowrance Active Target, casting a swim bait over the weeds for smallmouth and largemouth, and it was just awesome. You'd get to an area and you'd bring your bait over the weeds and you'd see perch just coming out of the weeds like from nowhere, and by the time you got to the end of your cast, you'd pick your bait up, there'd be 15 perch behind your bait. And that's just how they are. So once you find perch, you're gonna find larger species that are preying in on those perch. So that's the third thing. Use your electronics to find them. And the fourth thing kind of goes with that. If you're thinking about perch habitat, one of the issues with perch is they utilize huge portions of the lake. I mean, they really can be found anywhere from super deep water, suspended over mud flats. They can be super shallow in grass. They really can be identified and located all over the place. So you need to be aware of that as well. You may be fishing suspended fish, that you think are feeding on shad or cisco or some sort of roaming bait fish, but in fact, it's actually perch. And the same can be said, like I just said, fishing a shallow weed flat, where you think it might be more just bluegill, and it's actually piles of perch that are coming out of those weed. So that's the fourth thing. You just gotta keep an open mind as to where you're fishing and know that there's potential anywhere you go in that lake, you're gonna find perch. Now I say that, but that takes me to my fifth thing. There's one thing that you really need to know about perch, and that's they do not like muddy, dirty water. So if you're in an area, say you're fishing an area where there's a stream or a creek coming in, and you just had some good rainflow and you got some mud now coming down that river, chances are those perch will literally vacate that area. It's something that I don't think a lot of people realize, but perch are big time sight feeders, and they just do not tolerate muddy water well. And if they don't vacate, they become much less active, which at that point then makes it harder to catch fish that are feeding on much less active fish. So you just want to keep that in mind. You're better off going away from that muddy water. I've seen it happen before when you have windblown banks that have gotten really dirty. You get some good mud lines, that type of thing. The perch will move away from that. And if the perch move away from it, chances are good that the fish you're chasing that are feeding on the perch have also moved away. So keep that in mind, guys. So that was 5 things that you need to know about yellow perch to help you catch more bass. I hope it was helpful. If it was, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it on your social media pages, and stay tuned, guys. We got new videos that come out every day, tips and tricks, all kinds of stuff. Stay tuned. We'll have a new one for you tomorrow.